As we all know, Geometry Dash is a game of rage, where people are trying to beat hard levels. But there are always people who have to create these hard levels for them. Creators. If you decided to go this way in your GD life, you may have realized that building something amazing is not as easy as it seems at first. Having an original idea and trying to bring it to life is for many people, especially the ones who are just starting, impossible. Well, today I decided to share some tips on how to get better at creating levels. These tips will go from the complete beginning, so even people who are starting can have some idea of what I'm talking about, and they can go further in depth, so even the more experienced can learn something new from this. Upon opening the editor, you can see many icons. So many possibilities, so what should you do? Should you just put random objects together and see if it will look good? Or should you copy someone else's work? Well, no. Copying someone else's work can help a bit in learning some techniques, but it won't make you good at creating in general. Spamming random objects on top of each other can help you a bit, but you still need to know a bit about which objects go together. So let's learn how to create good stuff then. Gameplay. Well, if I want to start from the beginning, layout is like a base for your decoration. Without a good layout, you can do basically anything for decoration and it's not going to be good. That's why gameplay can make a huge difference in how your level is. So let's talk about gameplay. There are many aspects which play a huge role in gameplay making. Talking about each of them in detail could take a whole day, and I really don't have time for that. That is why I'm going to be talking about these aspects only in general, and then I can make more videos going in depth in the future. So, what is the most important part of the gameplay, you ask? This is really hard to say, as all the elements kind of mash up together to create a finished product in harmony. So, what is the element that is the most important? Well, we can kind of argue that sync is the most important, so let's talk about it first. So sync. Everyone has heard about it, everyone knows, but let me refresh you if you don't know. It is basically how much the gameplay fits with the song. One thing to keep in mind is that not every beat has to sync to a click or visual, but every click or visual has to sync to the beat. If this is confusing, let me demonstrate. As you can see, in the first layout, there was some gameplay, but it didn't really sync to the part. I mean, you had some beats at which it may be synced to, but in general, the wave was really off sync, didn't sync at all. If we look back at the second part though, we can see that it wasn't synced to all the beats, there were few skipped beats, but it's still better than having no sync at all. You should sync to at least some of the beats instead of not syncing to any beat. A huge part of the sync are speed changes. Wrong speed for a part is likely to destroy the enjoyment of the part. You can imagine this like a drop in a dubstep song and you have only one time speed. It probably won't be very exciting, right? I mean, in general, we can see approximately what speed matches with the song, but I see people struggle with it every time I look at the levels, even the featured ones, so let me go over it either way. One time speed. This speed is the one you start with when you open the editor, and for a good reason. One time speed is used for casual gameplay, not fast, not slow. 0.5 times. This one is used mostly for slow gameplay, and usually people use it with combination of MIDI cube. 2 times speed. This one is used for fast-paced gameplay. 3 times speed. This one is used for an even faster paced gameplay. Now, you can also see people using it for build-ups and drops, but I would prefer if using drops that are less intense. And finally, 4 times speed. This one is used for intense gameplay, build-ups, and drops in general. Camera. This is a thing many people get wrong when they start making layouts. When I sometimes go through the recent tab, I know I'm wasting my time by doing that, but I don't care. I always see this problem in so many levels. A layout with jumps that are off screen is just so frustrating when you can't see your player and you die to something you can't really see. This isn't good even for memory gameplay. You can make a good gameplay without off-screen jumps, even when it comes to memory gameplay. So, the camera. The general idea is to keep the player in the middle, or at least near the middle of the screen on Y-axis. As long as you keep that in mind, your layout should be okay in this aspect. Structures. These aren't as important as other aspects, as these are just made so your layout looks better and it can add a bit of atmosphere. If you can do the steps before structures, the structures can fix the steps. So, as for structures, you should find some style which you will use throughout the whole layout. Now, you should choose some combination of blocks, and you shouldn't use different ones for every single structure. This can make the whole layout look messy. And it's basically similar to decoration, where if you use different blocks, different type of structuring for every single block, it's going to be messy. Now, there are a few types of structures in general. There are complex structures, aligned structures, and block structures. Let me show you some examples. Aligned structures use basic lines to form their structure. These were very popular, and I can still see people using them. As for the people who use them, Conway was one of the people who was using them, but now he changed to a different style. Let me show you some of his works so you can understand more what I mean. Block structures are structures made out of editor blocks with some filling. The most common ones you see, probably. These doesn't always have to be black gradient blocks, although you can see it everywhere. You try to be creative with these ones, as they have lots of ways you can use them in. complex structures. These are structures that are made out of combination of different blocks. And oh boy, they can get extremely tricky. The people who are using it is, for example, G, which is one of my favorite gameplay makers. You can clearly see them in this layout. So as I mentioned before, talking about each of these in depth could take hours, and so I'm going to cut the video here. I can go and look into these in further detail if you want, just let me know in the comments. And next time I'll try to go over decoration. Member out.